To start section 4, we want to have just an edging put around these squares so that we can work. We've got a nice smooth edge to work the rest of the section from. To do that, I've chosen this mid sort of smoky grey colour. We have used that already in the centre, and this is the first time we've used it again since then. I've turned my blanket onto its reverse side, and this is going to be a round, excuse me, a round of half treble stitches, half double if you're in the US, but half treble stitches just to give a small edge to these squares. And I didn't want to make a big feature of it, so I took it down to the half treble, but that is giving me the nice straight edge that we can work the rest of the section from. So to make I'm halfway along this row first of all, but to start it was chain 2 and 2 half trebles in the corner, and then 3 half trebles in the next 2 clusters, and then you're at the corner. And it's a decreasing cluster like we did earlier on, but it's in half trebles this time, so I'm going to show you how that is made. So I'm coming right along here, and you can see that last night I was sewing in the ends of my squares, and I got this far, and then it got to bedtime, and I will finish them again tonight. Right, so I've come along, I've done my decreasing corner here, decreasing cluster here, 3 half trebles, 3 half trebles, and I'm on to the next point where the 2 squares meet. So I'm going to make a half treble first of all. Okay, let's just remind you of what a half treble is, and that is yarn over, put your hook into the space, yarn over and pull up the loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook, and that's a half treble stitch. Now to make the decreasing half treble, yarn over, put your hook into the space, that's the first corner that you come to, yarn over and pull up your loop, and you've got 3 loops on the hook. Now just leave these 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again, go into the next corner, yarn over and pull out your loop, and you've got 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 5 loops like that, and then yarn over and make 1 more half treble to complete that cluster, and there's your decreasing half treble sitting between the 2 corners and over the top of the join between the 2. I'll do that once more, so I'll just do 3 half trebles in this space, 3 half trebles in this space, and then 1 half treble, and then the decreasing half treble. Pull up your loop, 3 loops, yarn over, go into the next corner, pull up your loop, 5 loops, yarn over, pull through all 5, and finish with a half treble stitch. And you just need to work all the way around. Excuse me. When you get to the corners, of course, it's 3 half trebles, chain 2, 3 half trebles. So just bearing in mind that you've got these decreasing clusters over each of the joins, I will see you when I've got to the end and ready to start the next part of section 4. Okay, see you later. I've now come to the end of my complete circuit of half trebles in this grey colour, and all I need to do, of course, is slip stitch into the top of the first chain 2, and that's this first round complete. And I'm pleased to say that I have taken some time and sewn in all my ends, so everything is looking nice and tidy. Now to move on to the second round, you're going to chain 2, and that chain 2 will be the first stitch of the new round, and we're going to swing the blanket round onto its front again. As you can see, we've got the ridges of the join, so we know we're on the front. Let me just make sure that I am also in camera. My chain 2 is my first stitch, and it's the equivalent of my first treble stitch. We're working this round in trebles again, and as before, when you've chained 2 and turned on a corner, the first chain 2 is sitting right at the right hand side of the corner, so we're going to make the complete corner. We're not going to be working in treble clusters this time, we're just going to be working individual treble stitches. So for that, we're just going to make 1 treble stitch after the chain 2, and then chain 2 and 2 treble stitches in the same corner space. And that's the complete corner made, the first one. As you can see, it's looking nice and tidy and ready to go. Now, as I said, we're not going to be working into clusters this round. We're just going to work into the top of these stitches and make sure that you've got the 2 loops of each stitch. And this was why we did this round of half trebles, just to give us this nice neat edge. So I'm going to find my very first stitch. It's a little bit difficult to find behind the last treble stitch, but there it is. And then continue just working with 1 treble stitch in the top of each stitch. So you're not working into clusters, you're not working into the large spaces between the clusters, you're working into the top of every stitch. I'll do a few with my treble stitch. Double crochet, of course, if you're in the US. And I'll show you what it looks like in just a second. There we have it. And that's what your second round of section 4 looks like. So again, I will work all the way around with this section. Treble 2, chain 2, treble 2 in each of the corners, and of course remember that your first corner is complete, so when you work up here you will just need to slip stitch into the top of that first chain 2 to finish off. Now I'm going to work along one side, and then I'll just very briefly come back to tell you how many stitches fit in along the side. So I'll see you then. On to round 3 of this section. We've done the 2 grey rounds, and I'm now going to add a little bit of colour again, and we're going to be making bobble stitches, which you'll remember were the nice textured petals in the centre squares. And these bobble stitches are going to work all the way around the next round of this part, and in a variety of different colours. So it's going to be quite fun to do. I've decided to make my bobbles change colour every 6 or so along, and that'll give you a chance to get a little bit of one colour done before you have to change colour for the next one. Now to start with, I've turned the blanket onto its reverse side. So the reverse side, not when I say onto its reverse side, I mean its reverse side uppermost. So this is the back of the blanket that we're looking at. And of course we know that because when you did the bobble stitches in the squares, you'll remember that they look better when it's their wrong side that's showing on the front of the blanket. So we've had to turn the blanket over. And I'm going to start with my first colour, and I'm using the yellow to start. Now I'm just going to attach it in any corner, and it's just like as if we were going to do a treble cluster. So we're not putting a bobble into the corner. I'm going to keep the corners flat. So I'm chaining 2 as usual to be the equivalent of my first treble, and then 1, 2 trebles to make half of that corner. And then I'm going to miss 2 stitches out, 1, 2, and I'm going to go into the third one along. So I'm going to make my bobble stitch in the third stitch along. So that is yarn over into the top of that stitch. Make sure you've picked up the 2 loops, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, just as if you were starting a treble. And then at this point, yarn over again and go back into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, and then once more, and yarn over and pull through 2. And you can see that we have 4 loops on the hook, but for our bobble stitch so far we've done 3 stitches. So I've got another 2 to make, so that is 1 and 2. So we've got 6 loops on the hook, and it's time to just pull through all 6 loops and anchor it with a chain stitch, and then add another 2 chains. And then yarn over again, miss the next 2 stitches and into the third one along, and make the second bobble stitch. Just keep a check on these stitches below your hook. You can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, so we've got 1 more to do. And they'll always be finishing off with 6 loops on your hook. Pull through, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to work along, and I'll come back when I'm ready to change colour to my next set of bobble stitches. So I'll see you at that point. Now I've come all the way round my 4 sides with my bobble stitches, and I'm on my last colour before we get back to the corner where we started. Back again, I had a little cough there. On to my last one. Skip 2 and in to the third one along with the last bobble.